Hi everyone, my name is V. Lee, and today I'll be presenting my leadership case on Balenciaga's advertising scandal. This case explores how one of the world's most influential fashion brands faced a massive global backlash after a marketing campaign went wrong, and how its leaders handled the crisis. I'll analyze the event through the lens of ethical leadership and highlight what Balenciaga's executives did well, where they failed, and what lessons a leader can take away about responsibility, transparency, and values in today's digital world. Balenciaga was founded in 1917 by Cristobal Balenciaga, a Spanish designer who was known as a pioneer of high fashion. Today, it's part of the Kering Group, which also owns Gucci and Saint Laurent. The brand is famous for avant-garde designs and for campaigns that push creative boundaries, sometimes crossing the line between artistic expression and controversy. Since 2015, the creative director Demna has built Balenciaga's edgy identity, emphasizing streetwear, irony, and shock value as a form of luxury branding. Understanding this background is key because the same culture of risk-taking that made Balenciaga relevant also led to the scandal that tested its leadership. In November 2022, Balenciaga launched two ad campaigns that triggered immediate outrage. The first featured children holding teddy bears dressed in bondage-style leather accessories, as you can see in the photo on the left. The second, part of a separate collaboration, displayed a court document related to child pornography laws in the background. Online audiences accused Balenciaga of glamorizing child exploitation. The outrage spread across Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram within hours. Celebrities distanced themselves, parents boycotted the brand, and hashtags like #CancelBalenciaga trended worldwide. For leaders, this became a crisis of ethics, oversight, and judgment, raising the question of how such content could pass multiple approval stages in a global luxury house. To understand this situation, we can apply ethical leadership theory, which, as Brown and Trevino explain, centers on honesty, fairness, and moral responsibility. Ethical leaders set the tone for an organization's values. They model integrity and make sure their teams follow consistent ethical standards. At Balenciaga, that moral compass appeared to be missing. There were multiple layers of creative review, marketing, legal, and executive, but no one asked whether the imagery aligned with the company's stated values of inclusivity and respect. This lapse shows that ethical leadership isn't just about avoiding legal behavior. It's about asking, is this right? Even when something might grab attention or sales. When the backlash hit, Balenciaga's initial response made things worse. The company blamed the external production company and filed a $25 million lawsuit, suggesting others were at fault. But that defensive reaction angered the public and made the brand look evasive. Within days, both CEO Cedric Cabot and Demna issued personal apologies. Demna released a statement saying, "I take full responsibility," and promised stronger internal controls. This shift from blame to ownership was essential, but it came too late to prevent reputation damage. An effective crisis leader must respond quickly, transparently, and empathetically. Balenciaga's delay shows how fear of admitting mistakes can amplify a crisis rather than contain it. What went well and what didn't? Let's evaluate the leadership response. What went well? The eventual apology was sincere and globally communicated. The company donated to child protection organizations and worked with advocacy groups to rebuild trust. Karen, Balenciaga's parent company, also created a brand safety position to prevent future ethical lapses. However, the damage was worsened by how slowly the company reacted. It initially framed itself as the victim rather than the accountable party. There was no clear explanation of who approved the imagery or how such a failure happened internally. A stronger ethical culture where employee feels empowered to question a risky idea might have prevented this entirely. In leadership, accountability delayed is accountability denied. So, how could Balenciaga move forward? First, it should establish an ethics review board that screens all marketing content for potential ethical red flags before campaigns launch. Second, executives and creative teams need mandatory ethics and crisis management training so they understand the social impact of their decisions. Third, Balenciaga's leader could adopt servant leadership principles, listening to stakeholders, acknowledging harm, and prioritizing the well-being of affected communities over profits. Finally, transparent communication is key. As Bangkok and France wrote in Harvard Business Review, leaders who stay calm, fractional, and open during crisis preserves trust. If Balenciaga had practiced these strategies earlier, it could have transformed a scandal into an opportunity for authentic reform. This case has implications far beyond fashion. In today's digital era, leadership and ethics are instantly visible to the public. A single poor decision can go viral worldwide within minutes. Consumers expect brands and their leaders to uphold human values, not just create appealing products. For organization, trust is now a form of currency. Companies that integrate ethical leadership into every decision build stronger relationships with consumers, employees, and society. Balenciaga's failure reminds us that creativity and responsibility must coexist. Innovation without ethics is unsustainable. In conclusion, the Balenciaga scandal illustrates how leadership failures in ethics and accountability can quickly spiral into global crisis. It also shows that rebuilding trust requires humility, transparency, and consistent values-based action. Leaders must not only apologize, but also change systems to prevent similar lapses. My discussion question for you all is, how could stronger ethical leadership have changed Balenciaga's decision-making and the public's response? Think about whether a proactive ethical culture could have been prevented the scandal, or if it would have at least earned the company more forgiveness from the public. I look forward to hearing from you guys. This is my reference page. Thank you for listening.